Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, May 20th. We all know what the day is, right? Okay, another sunny day out there. I think all week we're having great weather. Makes me happy. So, sorry for the delay in getting this video on. Mrs. Oppel is learning so much technology and it's not always working. So, I was on the phone with Mr. Testani for half an hour and hopefully we're getting this figured out and you're seeing this video the right way. So today is F on our ABC, F day, and that is Feast Day. So what cultural foods do you have that your family might do? My family, two of my grandparents came over from Belgium. That's a country over in Europe. They came over back in the 1920s, and we didn't really have any special foods, but I think something everybody knows, or many people know, is Belgian waffles. Have you ever had those? I have a waffle iron that makes heart-shaped waffles, and I made some today, and I had strawberries. I cut those up, and I have whipped cream, and so what I'm doing is I am going to have a Belgian waffle for breakfast. I don't know if it's a breakfast or if it's a dessert, but it's what Mrs. Oppel is going to have today. So I want to show you my Belgian waffle. So there we go. That's what I'm having. Yum, yum, as soon as I'm done with this. So if you have anything, you could post a picture of what you've eaten today with your family. Maybe you have some traditions that you eat, some traditional food that you may have learned from great-grandparents or your mom and dad. So, okay, so let's see. Let's go over our DOL. Nope, not DOL. DLR. All our acronyms here. Daily Language Review. We're going over Tuesday. Take yours out, please. Let's see. Tuesday. He blank be able to come to the surprise party. He won't be able to come to the surprise party. And it would be is spelled correctly because it has an apostrophe T. W-O-N apostrophe T, and write it in the space. Number 2, correct the sentences. Ben don't have no games to play at his house. Yikes. Ben, capitalize, it's a name. We don't use don't, we're going to use doesn't. Doesn't have any. We don't say no games, we said any games to play at his house, period. So, Ben doesn't have any games to play at his house. The correct sentence. The next one, number 3. Letitia have went to see Dr. Martinez because she ain't feeling good. Another yikes. All the errors in that. Letitia is the name of a girl, capitalized. We don't say have went, we just say went. That's past tense. Happened already. So Letitia went to see Dr. That's a capital D and a period. It's an abbreviation. Martinez is his last name. That's capitalized. Because she ain't isn't a word. Sometimes I hear you guys say that, but it's wasn't. It's past tense, like was not. You could have was not or wasn't. Feeling good, period. Now, remember the other day we had one, I said use the word well would be better, so I changed it to well. Letitia went to see Dr. Martinez because she wasn't feeling well. If you had because she wasn't feeling good, that's okay. I'll accept that too. Give the plural of these nouns. So it's one party, but 2 parties. We drop the Y and add IES when we make a plural to a word that ends in a Y. So it's one family, but 2 families. So that would be yesterday's. Let's do a quick look at today. It's going to be a long video today. I feel like sometimes I talk so quickly so that these don't have to be that long. Okay, well, look at that. Fit right in there. Wednesday. Okay. Give the pronoun that would go with the underlined nouns. Stephen has 3 brothers and 2 sisters. Would it be he, she, him, her? What would we say in referring to Stephen? Which would you use? He, she, him, her. Or they, or them. Those are pronouns. Jane and Thomas will be picked up from school. We're talking about Jane and Thomas. Would you say he, she, them, they, he, her? Pick one and write that in the blank. Number 3, what is the subject of the sentence? Who is it about? Josh and his dog Ziggy explore the woods together. And I always say, who is exploring the woods? And that can help you answer. Choose A, B, or C. You can just circle it. And correct the sentences. We eats our lunch at Memorial Park. And Mrs. Talbot's class is gonna visit the museum on Wednesday. Ah! Gonna. That's one of my pet peeves. I don't want to hear gonna. Let's see what you put down for that. So that's your DLR for today. Okay, so yesterday we did our figurative language. And back this up a little bit so you can see me chit-chat here. Some sheets we did okay. Some sheets we didn't do okay. This is something new that we've done. I showed you, said this is an important thing, the reference sheet, figurative language. This is a good sheet. You might want to print this one out. I said you didn't have to, but you can always look at it online. I know you'll have printers, so hopefully you have some ink, you can print this one out because you might be using this for your poetry lesson today. So it talks about our alliteration, metaphor, personification, hyperbole, onomatopoeia, and simile. Hopefully you use that to figure these out. Now I know these were a little bit tricky. Let's go to this first one here. This was the harder one for people. I had more answers that were wrong. Remember they said you could also choose more than one. So if you picked at least one of them, that was a good thing. I have a squeaky chair you keep hearing me moving. Okay, so let's see. John's breath could flatten a gorilla. Oh, let's see. I'm going to use my sheet here to help me figure that out. And this one I'm going to say is a hyperbole because he exaggerated. Right? He exaggerated that it could flatten a gorilla. It's not personification, it's hyperbole. Her singing is as flat as a pancake. This would be a simile or a hyperbole. Is as a. Remember we said like as would be a simile. And that's also on your sheet here. The wildflowers danced in the wind. Metaphor, comparing wildflowers to wind, but not using like or as. 4, if they call my name, I'll have a heart attack. That's an exaggeration. If they call your name and you win, you know your heart is beating really quickly, but you're not going to have a heart attack, so it's an exaggeration or a hyperbole. He has the personality of a sack of potatoes. That means that he's not very exciting. It's a person, so he already has a personality, so it wouldn't be personification. It's not making the potatoes act like a person. So they're just comparing, they're exaggerating that he's like really boring. Because a bag of potatoes is kind of a funky thing. Like you don't have a conversation with him. So that's a hyperbole. She's as nutty as a fruitcake. As comparing her and the fruitcake. So it's a simile. The breeze whispered through the trees. Comparing the breeze whispering and the trees. The breeze and whisper is a metaphor. Comparing the two. She is as slow as molasses. Simile. Or a hyperbole because they're exaggerating. The sun smiled down on us today. They're making the sun be like a person. So it's personification. It's smiling. The children galloped across the field. They're comparing children to like a horse. Metaphor. 11. He walks like a cat. Got the word likes. Simile. 12. A quilt of snow covered the little town. A quilt of snow. A quilt, like a blanket that would cover you. The snow covered the little town. It's a metaphor. She's such a big star, her presence is blinding. Meaning a star is bright and blinding. You get blinded from bright light. They're comparing it. That's also exaggerating too, so it could be a hyperbole. And the last one, I have a million things to do to get ready. Do you really have a million things? I think you're exaggerating, but we know that she's very busy to get ready. So I want you to make sure you make those changes, please. Rewatch this video and make corrections on your paper. This one people did better on. You had to say which figurative language it was and why. So I was full after eating the Mile High ice cream cone. Mile high, and we know ice cream cones are a mile high, but that was hyperbole because they exaggerated. You must eat like a bird to be as small as you are. They're comparing a person to a bird and using the word like, so it's a simile. The fire swallowed the house before the firefighters arrived. Personification, the fire was sounding human. We'll never make it in this dinosaur you call a car. They're comparing the dinosaur to a car, and they're not using like, as, or than, so it's a metaphor. Number 5, the stars winked at me as I searched the constellations. Personification, making them real. It sounded like a person. And number 6, her smile was as wide as her new computer, a mile wide when she saw her new computer. They exaggerated her smile, so that's a hyperbole. Okay, so that was figurative language. You're going to find figurative language in poetry. And we're starting that. So poetry, there's different kinds that we're going to be doing in the next week. Biopoems, which are about yourself. Haiku, which is a Japanese poem. Limericks, they're a funny rhyming poem that you can have. Cinquain, about a topic. Couplets, short and to the point. And diamante, it's a diamond-shaped one. And all poems have themes. They could be about nature. They could be about a person or a certain topic, about different things. So what you're going to do today, you're going to open up the Google Doc. It says Analyzing Poetry. I want you to read this. And there's links on there you can click. You can read poems. You can listen to poems. I want you to listen or read several poems because you're going to have an assignment at the end of it. And it wants you to analyze a poem or give your thoughts, a noticing statement. What do you notice about it? Do things rhyme? Are they funny? Is it what's a theme that you may have noticed? So one of the poems was about a Maserati. And this is a poem here. I bought a Maserati. I bought a Maserati and a new Mercedes-Benz, plus a brand new Lamborghini I could show off to my friends. Muhammad, this is for you. I purchased a Ferrari and an Aston Martin too, and a Porsche and a Jaguar and a BMW. I had them all delivered to my mansion in the hills. I like to sit and look at them, imagining the thrills. For though it's fun to be the richest 9-year-old alive, I'm sure I'd like it better when I'm old enough to drive. And this is written by Ken Nesbitt. So I took this poem, and then you'll see on the Google Doc, I analyzed it. And this is what you're going to do. The last page has 2 spots. You're only going to do one today. You're going to do the top one, where it says Poem 1. But I analyzed it, and I said, I read and listened to the poem. I bought a Maserati. And then I noticed it was rhyming. For example, there were words that rhymed in every other line. It included rhymes like Benz and friends or hills and thrills. I also noticed there were 4 stanzas. Stanzas are the sections in a poem, like paragraphs. We call this a stanza. You may have had that before in 3rd grade. Let's see, the theme of the poem was humor. It was funny. It talked about a kid having all these fancy cars, which most kids don't have all those fancy cars. Right, Muhammad? So, read this over. Click on the blue links on your document. Read the poetry and pick one that you're going to analyze and put a noticing statement down there for me. Okay, this is the start of our poetry. And I think that's it. If you have any questions, you can email me, write me a message on the top of our Google Classroom. And with that, I am going to go eat my Belgian waffle. Bye.